Welcome back to another episode of Ace Attorney. In the last episode, we figured out some very valuable information to help our case. It turns out that Jack Hammer did indeed lace Will Powers' food with sleeping pills, and his fingerprints are on the bottle. And we figured out that there was an accident involving Jack Hammer 5 years ago, and Dee Vasquez covered it all up due to her ties with the Mafia, I suppose. And it turns out that that's why everybody is under her thumb, because she has that kind of power. And I want to show something to her. This photo. She's not even looking. Where? What? Where did you get that? Old bag. Old?
She means the security lady, Miss Oldbag, Nick.
Right, anyway. Miss Vasquez, you hid this incident from the press, didn't you? And you used it to control Mr. Hammer. The wind. It's gotten stronger, don't you think? The wind. Your conversation interests me. Let's talk about it more inside the trailer.
Nick, she went inside the trailer.
Well, guess we're moving in then. Let's hope she doesn't have men here to kill us. You came. Well then, what was it you were talking about? Why is she so eager all of a sudden? Miss Vasquez, you were using that accident. You were blackmailing Mr. Hammer so you could control him, weren't you? That's why he was doing a kid show for petty change. So I'm a blackmailer now?
Well, that's what it was, wasn't it? I mean, sure, it was an accident, but you used it to drag Mr. Hammer down from his rightful place as a star.
Oh, I haven't pulled anyone down from anywhere. Mr. Hammer's career went sour of its own accord.
But you were the cause. You pressured him. And to think it was just an accident.
Excuse me. What is all this about? You keep saying accident, accident. How are you so sure? What do you mean? Must I spell everything out for you? Think, what would it be if it wasn't an accident? No way. You mean Mr. Hammer did it on purpose? That's what I mean. Where's your proof? Can you prove it? Just think. Would he have let me run his life for 5 years over a mere accident? And I ran him hard, believe you me.
But the security lady said it was an accident.
Oh, well, she was a big fan of Hammer's, you see. She jumped on the reporter who brought that photo into the studio. She wrenched it out of his hands, he did. Gave him a few bruises, too. So that's why she had the photo. She's an old fool. Of course, all the reporter would need is the negatives. He could have made a copy. But he didn't. The only copy of that photo is the one you hold. Give it to me. No.
What? This is valuable evidence.
Boys. Oh, shit. Well, we're gonna die. They're gonna kill us. They're gonna put a round through our skull. Alright. Sorry, Maya. This is where you die. I hope you have a fun time in the spirit world. Who are they? Obviously Mafia boys. Professionals. They're good at erasing various things. What do you think? Would you like to be erased? What? The trial ends tomorrow? How unfortunate. It's a shame you'll have to miss it. Tell me why. Why do you want this photograph so badly? This is Mr. Hammer's dirt, no? Why should Dee Vasquez care about it at all? I'm sure you have plenty of time to think about that where you're going. So long, friends. Boys, a race away. No! Well, they're dead. That's game over. They're fucking dead. They killed him. Hold it right there. Oh, gumshoe for the rescue. Alright. I heard everything, pal. Dee Vasquez, you're coming down to the precinct with me now. Not bad. Very well. It appears this contest will be decided tomorrow then, in court. I'll be looking forward to it. Well, I mean, I genuinely thought they were just gonna put a fucking round through their heads. Alright. Hey, you okay, pal? Sorry I was a little late with my entrance. I don't get many chances to practice that sort of thing.
Detective Gumshoe! Thank you, thank you, thank you! I was really scared.
Huh? Don't mention it, pal. Just doing my job.
Detective Gumshoe!
Sorry, it's just I've wanted to say that line ever since I became a detective. Okay, I've got one more job to do today. I'm sure we'll run into each other again soon. Alright, goodbye, Gumshoe.
Well, Nick, it looks like we're getting close to the bottom of this.
And who's at the bottom? Dee Vasquez, obviously. Because she's obviously the murderer, or she had Hammer kill him on purpose, or she's the one who did it. So that would be 2 accounts of murder. Yes, I would love to save my progress up until this point. Yes. Yes. Sonny. Yeah. October 20th, 10 o'clock. Back in court, aren't we now? Oh, yeah. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Today will be the final day of this trial. I hope both prosecution and defense will be able to present their evidence. I'm finally having the stroke I've been waiting for. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement. In yesterday's session, the defense presented us with a new theory for this case. He claims that the scene of the crime was in fact Studio 2. Today, I will call on people present in Studio 2 trailer that day. From their testimonies, the truth will become clear. Very well. Edgeworth seems a bit on edge today. No wonder they call him Edgeworth. You may call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls Mrs. D. Vasquez to the stand. Miss D. Vasquez is a producer who was present on the Studio 2 trailer that day. Are you allowed to smoke that in here? Will the witness state her name and occupation? D. Vasquez, I'm the producer for Global Studios. On the day of the murder, you were in the trailer in Studio 2. As everyone here knows, yes? I dislike needless banter. If you must pontificate, do it when I'm not here. Very well, Miss Vasquez. Please give the court your testimony concerning the day of the murder.
Nick, I know she didn't make her pay.
Right. If she's guilty, I'll catch her with her pants down, so to speak. You'd like that, wouldn't you, Phoenix? You'd have cunt, yeah. I entered the trailer a little bit before noon. The meeting began at 12 o'clock sharp. It ended at 4. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. At 2:30, we took a 15-minute break in the meeting. Sal and I ate T-bone steaks on the table in front of the trailer. We found Hammer's body later when we all went to Studio 1. That's all. I have a question about one part in your testimony. You were fatigued, so you had Sal take you. The van. There's a van at Studio 2. I had him take me in that. I thought it might be risky to walk with that monkey's head tipping over. Oh, the van. I see. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination.
This is the final battle, Nick. Let's do it. My voice is just gonna keep getting even more high-pitched.
So you entered the trailer a little bit before noon. The meeting began at 12 o'clock sharp. It ended at 4. I guess that's true. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so he went to Studio 1, but I thought the rehearsal was before the meeting. And when exactly was that? I've forgotten. Maybe you could try remembering? No. The meeting ended at 4 and the rehearsal was scheduled for 5. I would think it's between those 2 times. You would think? Come on, all you did was state the obvious, Edgeworth. So you were fatigued. Why were you fatigued? Hold on. You had Sal take you? What does that mean? It means what I just said. I had Sal take me in the Studio 2 van. Oh, alright. I thought he was going to ask her why she was fatigued. So you took a 15-minute break. Sal and I ate T-bone steaks on the table in front of the dinner. Is that true? Do you have someone who can verify this? Sal. No, I mean someone else. One person is enough. If she committed murder during that break, she wouldn't have time to eat a T-bone steak. If I had some evidence that proved she didn't eat that steak.
Well, Nick, find anything?
I kinda wish she had said a little more.
It's hard. I think she's pretty used to being the boss. But I'm sure you'll find some kind of contradiction in what she said somewhere.
Okay, so you have to prove she didn't eat a steak. I'll save before this because I don't trust it. Alright, so let's see here. So, any proof that she couldn't have done it. That's a 5-year-old photo. Found in the employee area. On it are traces of sleeping pills and a large bone. This is the one that Powers ate, so... How can I prove she didn't eat steak? There's really nothing to prove that she didn't eat it. Maybe the plate? I don't know. It was the only thing that seemed to make sense. Ha! As I thought. You claim you ate a T-bone steak. But I say you did not.
What's this now, Mr. Wright?
Look at this.
It's a plate?
This plate was on the table in the employee area. I'm surprised I actually guessed correctly there. As you can see, a large bone has been left behind.
Mr. Wright, need I remind you that it was a T-bone steak?
Exactly my point. Remember, if you will, Miss Vasquez and Mr. Manella ate at a table outside the trailer. Yet there were no bones left on the plates. The plates were bare! Ooh, she's got a snarl on her face now. Miss Vasquez? Tell me, how can a person eat a T-bone steak and not leave the bone? I don't know, eating the bone. I think I know how. You didn't eat the steak. You didn't eat any steak during that break. You took your steak and threw it somewhere like that incinerator.
I see. Then what was Miss Vasquez doing during that break?
Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? Meeting the Steel Samurai. She was meeting with the Steel Samurai.
Order. Are you saying?
Yes, Your Honor. As Miss Vasquez left the trailer to eat her steak, she ran into the Steel Samurai, and then you did it. You killed him with your own hands.
Mr. Wright, isn't it a little presumptuous?
What kind of stunt are you trying to pull, Wright? Let him claim what he wants. You say I did it? Yes. Fascinating. And here I was worrying today would be as boring as all the rest. Very well, let us have a battle of wits, you and I. Any day, Vasquez.
Good luck, Nick.
Let's see, what was that murder weapon again? Oh yes, the samurai spear. Yes, I am, as you can see, a woman of petite stature. How could I possibly use that heavy spear as a weapon? You didn't. You absolutely didn't. You couldn't, could you? I think you would have a great deal of difficulty using that as a weapon. Pretty much anyone would. Huh. You see? Yes, however, that has no bearing on this case. Meaning, the samurai spear was not the murder weapon. What?
Ding-ding-ding. What is the meaning of this? The spear was found lying next to the victim's
body. There was no blood on it or anything. I have proof, Your Honor. I can prove that the samurai spear was not used as a murder weapon. It's that one. This picture.
Diddle-ding! Wrong, Mr. Wright.
But I haven't said anything yet.
I know you well enough by now when you're going to present the wrong evidence.
I can sense it too with my fey blood. Okay, so I picked the wrong evidence. Enough with the sensing. Right, okay, here's your real evidence. I can prove the samurai spear was not used as the murder weapon. Okay, I mean, I thought that would be pretty obvious given that the spike on the fence is the exact same as the spear. I mean, look at it. Look at it. You can see the similarity. It's obvious. Alright, how do I prove this? How do I prove it? I mean, maybe just present. There. The weapon itself. I present my proof, the so-called murder weapon. But that is the murder weapon. Not so fast. Remember that this spear broke during the morning action scene run-through? But someone fixed up the spear. It was that security lady. She fixed it with duct tape. Now tell me, how is it possible for someone to stab a man who is wearing a thick costume with this through the chest? And also the fact that there's no blood on it at all, or any fingerprints for that matter. Mr. Wright, what are you driving at? Think about what you're... Silence! I'm the one testifying here, and I will be heard. Are you quite sane? Are you even aware of what you're saying? If the samurai spear was not the murder weapon, then pray tell what was. How was Hammer killed? Well, Mr. Wright, can you tell us what weapon was used to kill Mr. Hammer? I can absolutely tell you. Would I make a claim like that if I couldn't tell you what the weapon was? I'm afraid your confidence can sometimes be unfounded, Mr. Wright. Very well, let's see this murder weapon then. Ding ding ding, right here, pal. Look at this photo. What is this? Why, that's Jack Hammer standing at the top of the stairs. Order, order! If I cannot have order, this trial will be suspended. Mr. Wright, what is this all about? This photograph is from 5 years ago. There was an unfortunate accident at Global Studios. This is a photo of that very accident. Not a word of this was leaked to the outside. It was a close-kept secret at the studios. What does this have to do with the current case? Mr. Edgeworth, you still can't see it? See the fallen man in this photo? See how the fence post pierced him through the chest? What? Are you saying? Yes. What happened 5 years ago? Has happened again. Bling ding ding, I figured it out. Mr. Wright, continue. It's 2:30 p.m. on the day of the murder, and that's why the fence post was bent, and I figured it out way before this. Miss D. Vasquez meets Jack Hammer outside the Studio 2 trailer. Then she did it. She pushed Mr. Hammer off the stairs and onto the fence. She, just like Mr. Hammer had done himself 5 years ago. No, whether she did it on purpose or by accident, I cannot say. In other words, the victim, Mr. Hammer, he died in the same way that he caused another man to die. 5 years ago. Precisely. Ironic, isn't it? Ho ho, very creative, Mr. Wright. I could use a man like you on my script writing staff. You deny that what I say is true? Mr. Wright, let's say for the sake of argument that Hammer died at the trailer, as you say. Yet the body was found at Studio 1, was it not? In the evil magistrate's costume, no less. Are you claiming that I carried the body to Studio 1 and returned to the trailer all in the space of a 15-minute break? How could I have disposed of the body? The van! You used the van! The break in the meeting at the trailer lasted 15 minutes from 2:30 to 2:45. I'm sorry, I forgot Edgeworth's voice there for a second. Could Jack Hammer have been pushed off the stairs to his death, then carried to Studio 1 and placed inside his costume? There wasn't enough time. Indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, could she have dealt with the body? I bet she could move it. You'd be surprised, I bet she could do it. When people think their life depends on it, they can do amazing things. Mr. Wright, this is not an episode of that. That's incredible. If you claim she did everything in 15 minutes, let me guess, show me proof. correct. Show me proof. How am I supposed to do that? Wait. I didn't say that out loud. That's Phoenix thinking to himself. So how did... We're just gonna ignore that one and move on. Then I won't have you making substantiated claims. But she could have done it. Wait a second, how does he know what I'm thinking? Yeah, ha! I need only look at the cold sweat running down your face to know what you're thinking. Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to reconsider your claim. Well, Mr. Wright, how would you have dealt with the body? She had another way. What if she had another way to carry the body other than her own hands? For instance, the van. Actually, for that matter, there was no need for her to do the deed in 15 minutes. And there was a way for you to carry that body. Interesting, let's hear it then. Mr. Wright, please show us how she carried the body. The van, motherfucker. Miss Vasquez, you carried the body to Studio 1, and you used the studio van to do it. Recall your testimony. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. There was a van there, right? I had Sal drive me. You used the van to carry the body to Studio 1. Then, before everybody else got there, you put the body into the magistrate costume. Hold on, Wright. Don't forget it was Salmonella that drove the van. You're implying she doesn't know how to drive? Are you suggesting that Mr. Manella was a conspirator? Well, of course he wasn't. She could have just driven the van herself. Of course he wasn't. Ha! So without Mr. Manila noticing anything, she put the body in the van, then managed to put the body into the costume? Are you seriously suggesting that is possible? Of course I'm not serious. Ha ha! I was kidding to lighten up the proceedings. I mean, she could have just put him in the van, gotten in, and driven away. She could have done that. Lighten? You can't lighten up a murder. Mr. Wright, the court requests you refrain from making claims in jest. Yes, Your Honor. Of course, Salmonella has to have been a conspirator. The body had to be placed in the van and put into a costume. There's no way Miss Vasquez could have done that alone, but she totally could have. She could have picked that guy up, just drag him along. It's easy. Also, don't forget that they had to dispose of the Steel Samurai costume. They had to because it was covered in Mr. Hammer's blood. They probably burned it in that small incinerator. Well, Miss Vasquez, shall I continue? No need. You're smarter than you look, Mr. Wright. I lose, you win. It was fun. I win? So she admits it. It's over. So what happens next? Don't question mark me. Do you have anything to say? What would you like me to say? Huh? I lost? Something like that. I just said that. Wait, so you mean D. Vasquez, so it was you? You killed Jack Hammer. So it's true. She admits it. Trial over. Who can say? Huh? Are you sure I did? Mr. Wright, we just engaged in a battle of wits, and the result of that battle, you proved the possibility that I murdered Hammer. Right. But that is only a possibility. Proof is another thing altogether. You lacked decisive proof, Mr. Wright. What? Order, Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Of course, it's as the witness says. Certainly, it does seem very likely she did it, but, there's no proof. Edgeworth isn't sure. Well, I came here as a witness today. If you've no more questions, I'll be leaving. What do I do now? You did it, Vasquez. I know you did it, motherfucker. Miss Vasquez, you did it. That wasn't the question. Did you do it? No. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. I'm not sure that question helped this court get any closer to a verdict. What do I do? No further questions. We don't need questions. Yes, Mr. Wright, I was hoping I'd come up with a question while pounding on my desk. I didn't. You have my sympathies. Damn. To come so far only to fail. Is that going to be a game over? I hope not. As it seems there are no further questions, I would like to end the cross-examination of the witness, Miss Vasquez. What the hell, Miss Edgeworth? Yes, Miss Edgeworth. I was hoping to come up with a question while I was objecting, Your Honor. I didn't. I see, very well. Your Honor, I request that the witness testify again. You are the prosecutor, are you not? Why are you badgering me? I'm your witness. I just want to hear your testimony again. Does this make any sense to you, Your Honor? I don't see why we have to do... I don't see what we have to gain by repeating the last several minutes. Mr. Edgeworth, I too see little point in making Miss Vasquez repeat herself. What exactly did you want her to testify about? Oh, well, yes, Indeed, verily I say, ergo. I want to hear about what happened after they found the body. After they found the body? Very well. The witness will testify to the court concerning this matter. Humph.
Nick, why did Edgeworth?
Who knows? He's secretly on our side, man. I'm telling you, this dude, he's got something in him, you know? He really wants to actually help us. He probably realized she did it too. Yeah, that's also a thing.
But, wasn't he the one that said he always gets a guilty verdict? After all that...
Edgeworth. He's helping us. He is literally like, hey, boom, after finding the body. I was with Sandlin Oldbank, the security lady, when we found the body. The assistant was there too, only Powers was absent. I immediately called the police and Powers showed up. The security lady, Oldbank, was quite agitated, pointing at Powers, saying he did it. I asked to be left out of the proceedings. I went back to the trailer to get my script and direction notes. Then I went home. Well, you didn't. It was still there at the studio by the time we got there. I see no issue raised by this testimony. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination.
Okay, Nick, we're close, real close. She may be acting tough now, but if you put her on the spot, she's sure to falter. Find the key you need and twist the truth out of her, Nick.
Right. Alright, this is it. Okay, so the security lady, when the assistant was there, only Powers was absent, I immediately called the police, then Powers showed up. The security lady, old bag, yes, I asked to be left out of the proceedings. Why? You asked to be left out? Yes. It seems that everyone else was questioned, and I'm really not fond of that sort of thing. But you can't just decide who the police will and won't question. Thankfully, the studio thinks otherwise. They were nice enough to understand that since we were in a meeting. There was no way we could have been involved. Thus, they covered for us. Covered for you? Or covered it up for you? There must have been a lot riding on it. With all those bigwigs at the meeting, I'm sure her professionals helped convince everyone they didn't require questioning. Went back to the trailer to get my script. No, you didn't, because I have the damn script. Don't I have the damn script? I don't have the script, do I? Shit. Well, maybe we press on that. The script in your direction notes? Yes, they're quite valuable. It wouldn't do to have them stolen. No, I guess not. Press harder. Wait a second, I thought you came to Studio One for a rehearsal. Why didn't you bring your script and notes? Well, I was under the impression that we wouldn't be able to rehearse anything. Why? There was a murder, after all. Who could think of rehearsing after that? Oh yeah, I guess. Very well, Miss Vasquez, please continue. Hello, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor! I have an objection to the witness's last statement. Huh? Think. Miss Vasquez, she said she didn't bring the script because there wouldn't be a rehearsal. Don't you see what that means? She would have had to know about that murder before going to Studio One. He's right, you know. I was about to say I had to bring her the script. She never got the script because I had to bring it to her. Order, order. Mr. Edgeworth.
What you have just said is a reasonable observation. However, I find it hard to understand why the prosecution would make such a move. Or are you thinking of a career change to defense?
I appreciate the concern, Your Honor. I will stand by my statement, however, regardless of how the court sees my role here. Now, Miss Vasquez, do you have any explanation? I can't believe Edgeworth is helping me. He really, he knows this bitch did it. Humph. So the prosecution is in cahoots with the defense. What kind of court is this? No matter. I think you misunderstood me. I had a perfectly good reason to believe there would be no rehearsal.
Very well, the witness will change her testimony to reflect this reason.
I knew that Hammer was injured and couldn't do any action scene, so I left them behind. Hammer was injured? When? How did you know about the injury? How did I know? Sal, he told me. But Hammer wasn't injured, Powers was injured. Sal, the director.
You have to find something to peg this honor here, or everything we've done till now would have been wasted. I believe in you, Nick. Go get him.
So you were Sal, the assistant was absent. But I knew that Hammer was injured. What do you mean Hammer was injured? When was Hammer injured? Because it was Powers who sprained his ankle, right? So, I'm going to raise an objection here. You knew that Hammer was injured? Don't you think that's a little funny? I mean, it was the Steel Samurai who was injured. It was Will Powers. What? Got you now, bitch.
Mr. Wright, explain yourself.
Yes, Mr. Hammer is dragging his leg in this photo, but that's because he was pretending to be Mr. Powers. Pretending? One person was injured in the run-through that morning. That person was Mr. Powers, not Mr. Hammer. Now, why did you think it was Mr. Hammer who was injured? I already said it was Sal who told me. No, that's right. He must have gotten it wrong. I think not. Mr. Manella was at the run-through that morning. He would have known it was Powers who was injured. He saw it happen. Why would he tell you the wrong person? Miss Vasquez, you saw Hammer limping? Yeah, you saw Hammer limping. Actually, you didn't hear anything from Mr. Manella. You saw Mr. Hammer limping with your own eyes.
Yes, but wasn't it Mr. Powers who was injured?
Yes, but remember, Mr. Hammer was dragging his leg too. He was pretending to be Mr. Powers. And when was he doing this? Well, it would have to be... It would have been after he put on the Steel Samurai costume and went to Studio 2, where he was murdered. Exactly. Miss Vasquez, you met him, didn't you? You saw the Steel Samurai limping. And Mr. Hammer was in that Steel Samurai suit. That's why you were confused. That's why you thought it was Mr. Hammer who had been injured that morning. It makes sense.
Order, order, I will have order. Witness, can you refute this claim?
Yeah, let's see you sneak out of this one, Vasquez. Very well. I have a question for you. Why are the real killers always so persistent? Why in the world would I want Mr. Hammer dead? Yes, he'd fallen on hard times, but he was a star. I had nothing to gain from his death, nothing.
Yes, you would have need a motive. Why would she have killed the victim? If there is a reason, it is unclear to this court. Does the defense have anything to say on the matter? In other words, can you prove she had a motive?
Of course I can prove it. The plot relies on it, okay? I have proof and I'll show it to you. I present to the court evidence as to Miss Vasquez's motive in this murder. This, right? I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. Oh, she want him dead. I'm guessing this photo. This is my proof.
This is the photo from before.
This photo reveals the motive in this murder.
I'm right, aren't I, Miss Vasquez? 5 years ago, Mr. Hammer was at the height of his fame. With D. Vasquez's help, a terrible accident was swept under the carpet. Ladies and gentlemen, the case currently up for trial. It began on that day 5 years ago. Ironically enough, that accident precipitated Mr. Hammer's fall. His fall from stardom. His guilt weighed him down, no doubt. However, you, D. Vasquez, used Mr. Hammer. You made him work for the petty change. Humph. Bringing us to the present day, and Mr. Hammer's last role as the evil magistrate. Yes, undoubtedly, it was a constant source of shame for the ex-star.
One moment, Mr. Wright. We are talking about motives here, yet you would have only talked about Mr. Hammer. It almost seems as if it was Mr. Hammer who had killed D. Vasquez, not the other way around. What motive would Miss Vasquez have?
Yes, that's right. According to what you say, I would have had no reason to kill Hammer. He was a good source of income for me. And I never get rid of useful men. It's a policy of mine.
Mr. Wright, please explain Miss Vasquez's motive for murder.
Reveal evidence. Okay, allow me to present to the court evidence proving Miss Vasquez's motive. The sleeping pills. I mean, it's kind of the only thing that makes sense. It really is the only thing that makes sense. I'm gonna present it. This is my proof.
And this tells us why Miss Vasquez wanted to kill Mr. Hammer?
I'd say all it proves is that the defense attorney has completely lost his marbles.
Mr. Wright, the court requests that you find your marbles immediately, and I'm afraid I have to penalize you for this waste of the court's time.
Nick, we're so close. Think this one through, please.
Mr. Wright, I'll ask you again. Please explain Mrs. Vasquez's motive for murder.
She had no motive. I can't think of any evidence that she would have. She had no motive, Your Honor.
What's that now?
It was Mr. Hammer who was out for blood. All Miss Vasquez did was push him off the stairs in self-defense. What's that now? It's simple. Mr. Hammer was intending to kill Miss Vasquez.
What?
What? Your Honor, Jack Hammer drugged Mr. Powers with sleeping pills. Jack Hammer snuck into the dressing room and stole the steel samurai costume. Jack Hammer wore the costume to fool the security lady into thinking he was Powers. Then Jack Hammer made his way to the trailer. And for what purpose, you ask? To kill D. Vasquez, who had cruelly taken advantage of him all those years. Ooh, she broke her pipe. That's cool. So, you did it. You did do it, didn't you? Yes. I'm guilty. It was me. Someone call an ambulance. There's blood everywhere. We're too late. Ah, Miss Vasquez. What happened here? Manuel fell from the trailer stairs. Manuel. Miss Vasquez, please try to remain calm. No, how could this? It was an accident. Mr. Hammer was doing an action scene and... No, Manuel. Don't touch him, Miss Vasquez. No. Please don't die, please. Congratulations, Mr. Wright. I lose again. And that's all she wrote.
Mr. Edgeworth, where's D. Vasquez?
In the waiting lobby, Your Honor. As calm and as collected as ever.
I see, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
It appears you are about yet another miracle.
I thank you, Your Honor. I think not, Your Honor. Will Powers was innocent. That he should be found is only natural, not a miracle.
Yes, you're right. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, not guilty.
Yay! We did it! I'll admit that was a close one.
That is all. This court is adjourned.
Oh boy, okay. With that case out of the way, I'm gonna end this video off here. Thank you all so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys for another exciting episode of Ace Attorney. Peace out.